What is going on, everyone? It is the Digital Cypha Podcast coming at you on a Saturday. And we got Dio Zales. Unfortunately, the Don CJG is not here. You know, he's fine and dining where he's at. So we're gonna let him do what he's gotta do. This video, it's way out there. Let me just bring it back a little bit. Yeah, and so it's just Dio Zales and I. Dio, what is going on today?
Not too bad. Enjoying the morning so far. Nice weather, beautiful. Enjoying gaming. Miss Don, but I'm pretty sure he left us for a date. That's what I think it is.
Yeah, I think it's Patty Mayonnaise from Doug Funny. Yeah, I'm that old. Yeah, man. Yeah, who knows? You know, he last episode he took time to go see the new James Bond movie, and he had an emotional moment. In the starting of the movie. Not the movie hasn't begun yet, just the beginning. Yep. I haven't seen it before. I'm waiting for a minute, but if it's that gripping, of an emotional ride, just the opening credits, then yeah, I have to give it to him. He knows his movies. But moving away from Don CJG because he's not here. Yo, what have you been doing this week?
Mostly playing New World. I resubbed to Final Fantasy 14. I'm gonna try to get there before Endwalker. I don't have much time left.
Bro, that's not gonna happen.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, bro. I just went into my level 60 character.
Oh my god. Okay.
And that's Stormblood. I still have to go through the one after that before Endwalker. So that's another depending on how often you play, right?
Yeah.
That's another month or two, maybe until Christmas time. I don't know. I mean, October, if I do like a stream a day, or just play like, I don't even say 3 hours won't help me. 3 hours a day won't help me either. I gotta be mindlessly playing this game.
But I see you playing New World right here.
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
See your life staff and sword and shield combo.
That is a shield with an ice arm, ice thing.
Okay. Ice gauntlet. Okay.
Ice gauntlet, and that's my staff. The shield is just there taking up a slot because nothing else can go in it. Of all things, nothing else can go in that slot. So, yeah. Okay. Yeah, man. So as you guys see, that's what I've been doing this week. Playing some New World. I like it. Wish my dude could run faster, like there was a sprint mechanic, but it's just me.
Depending on what you build for, there are some weapons that allow you to not sprint for a long time, but like you do a little dodge roll here and there, and you'll like move a little faster for a little while, like the musket and the bow.
A little bit of cheese and using skill sets, I see.
Yep.
The Ninja Gaiden spin, the roll just to get a little faster.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but it's definitely cool. Definitely cool. It's slow paced, but it's not the type of slow pace that that will bore you. I think for me, what bores me about the game is that the game, well, first and foremost, I'm not doing PvP. I think if I was doing PvP, I'll be like crouching my whole way through. Not that crouching would help, to be honest, but because every time I meet somebody, they're like level 20 plus. And they're always firing at me in areas like as soon as I leave the camp. Yeah, they fire me. They realize they can't shoot me, so they can't swing their sword or axe or hammer or whatever at me, so they just run away. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Finding somebody else to torment. So.
Yeah, I had a level 50 something try to do that to me too when I was trying to do some logging right next to the town, and I was like, "What are you doing?"
yeah, you don't see the symbol on top of my head. Clink clink, clink clink. Yeah, but yeah, man, it's a game that grows on you. I think what would get somebody to be bored about the game is when you adventure too much into the game. when
Yeah.
you go way out and you become lost is a good thing, but when you're lost and you're being overtaken and then you have to run all the way back and you realize what you actually were supposed to do versus not venturing off the path and then having to
Yeah.
run back, it's to some people it's not really that that breaks the immersion because of you're not used to that. You know what I mean? You're not used to that type of death where the death takes you back so far on the map that now you have to figure out, okay, do I want to go back there?
Yeah.
Because how much some missions take you 5 minutes to get to. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Easily.
But I think to me, once my homie becomes available and he max ranks and he's ready to jump in a team, a group, then he brings his lady with him, and then we just rocking 3 people, decimating the crew. You know what I'm saying? Like killing folks. That's the only time I go PvP, when I'm rolling with a team of 3.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'll let your lady be the healer. I think that's what she
Okay.
would do. I think she would do that. And I'll go back to the I think I tried the rapier or the
Okay.
or the axe. That I like the hatchet. I'm just kind of mad that the hatchet is not the two-handed.
Okay.
Is it two-handed?
Yeah. No, the hatchet is one-handed, and then you had the two-hand great axe. But
Oh.
they're like completely different skill lines.
So the great axe you can have two. You can have one on both hands.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you
Gotcha.
want, that's actually a pretty good build. Is two-hand great axe and one-hand hatchet.
Okay.
It actually works very well.
Okay. Yeah, I gotta look into that. Okay. All right. So actually, we didn't want to get into New World that deeply in the conversation. That's how we are. So in today's news, we have some things going on. One of the things you may have heard was the people of first-person shooters who are heavily involved into Destiny is not liking how Destiny is vaulting expansions in DLC.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring this topic to Dio because you've played WoW, you've played Fortnite, you've played Guild Wars, you've played Terra, you've played Black Desert Online, you've played, and the list goes on.
Yeah.
The only other MMO that really does vaulting would be, I can consider Fortnite an MMO, but it's more battle royale, but it's still an MMO because it's massively online multiplayer, right? That does vaulting, right? And
Yeah.
when Fortnite vaults, you don't really miss it because you're not in it for the story. You're in it to kill people, right?
Yeah.
Whereas with Destiny is heavily story based with PvP being, I would say, the 45% of engagement, where hey, I'm done with PvP, I'm going back to story, I'm doing raids, I'm doing all this other stuff.
The strikes and everything.
Exactly. So when Destiny or the team Bungie decided to do vaulting and they made that public, everybody was like, okay, cool, we can go back to the Vault of Glass, so we can do this and that from Destiny 1, but then that goes away. And one of the things that I really didn't like was the Red War being gone. To me, I think Red War should have stayed, because that introduced Destiny 2. Whereas they removed the Red War. I think when they first removed it, it was like an optional story, right?
Yeah.
I get it, but it then lost its flavor on the story path that you were supposed to go through. So getting back to you, Dio, vaulting. How do you feel about vaulting in a game like Destiny?
So,
I know you don't play it anymore, but I just want.
So honestly, I think a lot of MMOs tend to do this, but they kind of do it in different ways and different, percentages, right? Like they might vault, but like it you won't really notice because you'll still see like little areas where they have the old, like World of Warcraft old expansions. You can see like the old maps and stuff like that, and you can go to old dungeons, but in a way that stuff becomes obsolete, right? Like there's no reason to do that. So a new player or a casual player would never really go back to that stuff unless you're trying to collect something.
So
And
when they're voting because of the lack of player population going to that specific location. It's like, oh well, that we're not getting that much player base going there, so let's utilize our resources elsewhere by just blocking that off and putting something else in a different location that would get more traction. I'm
I
assuming.
think that's why most MMOs do it. But I think in the case of Destiny, if I'm correct, I read something that because of how they built the game, they actually have to do it because of the programming. Like if they don't do it, it actually makes it harder for them to make new content.
Oh wow.
I don't know how true that is, but that was their main reason for doing it. So they can't even like if they really wanted to get rid of this, when they make Destiny 3, they would have to completely do everything over if they wanted
From the
to
ground
not
up.
have to deal with this. Yeah. Um I
That's
think
kind of sad. Though.
yeah, it is sad because I mean it affects players in different ways, right? Like if you're a hardcore Destiny player and you play every day, all day, this doesn't bother you, right? Because you've been there, done that, and
Well,
you don't need a refresher. Well,
it
it
does.
does in a way, but I think most players who play every day,
Hmm.
they don't care as much because they just want new content. They want to be able to
Hmm.
do things. I think it bothers more the casual player or new players who have no idea what's going on in the story or who are trying to catch back up and be like, oh, this is what happened. Because for older players, like sure they might want to replay that content, but if you're an avid player who literally plays Destiny every day, like it probably bothers you a lot less because you rather do the new content. You know what I
Well,
mean?
I think it would bother the hardcore players too. Not as much as the casual. Because for the casual, they would play and they would, pause for a second and do life, right? But for the hardcore, that that best friend shows up like, hey man, I saw you playing Destiny, yo, wanna jump in? And I'm like, okay, cool, yo, let's go play, the Volt, no, not the Volta Glass, let's go play the Red War, let's go play Curse of Osiris, let's go play this and that. Now of course they're hardcore, so they would know what's not there anymore, but they would
Yeah.
not have to explain everything, instead of allowing the gamer to experience it, right? Because when you vote something, I think you're losing like a part of history that you would hope return for those people who haven't experienced it. Um, and then that's leaving lore masters within Destiny to explain everything as they're playing in PvP, in strikes, in raids. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
You know, and it's troublesome more to the player than to the developer. The developer can, to me, I look at it as a developer and say, hey, all right, we need our lore team or story team, we need our designers, whatever, we're gonna create a whole new world within the Cosmodrome, deep in the earth, you know what I'm saying? Like, and they do that, it becomes a 40-hour gameplay experience, and then they charge an arm and a leg for it because it's additional content every year.
Yeah.
3 contents, boom, there you go. And then last year's content just disappears.
Yeah. Or it just becomes free to new players.
True.
That happens too.
Well, I think, what is it, Forsaken is going to be free, pre-voted,
Yeah.
and then it's going to be gone.
Exactly.
So,
But the
and
people who bought it in the beginning, they paid their like what, $40 or so.
yeah, I was watching Destiny Gary's show, and he estimated $218 on all expansion just gone, bolted. So I'm so then the question would be, as a hardcore gamer, are you gonna think about that money loss? Or are you gonna be like, well, I'm getting new content and it's expected, hey, it's all good, like.
Well, I think for a hardcore player, like if they're playing every day, like I don't think it bothers them as much because they actually want to play all that content when it's current.
Mhm.
Where I think for a casual player that would suck because like let's say you're playing that new expansion, you play it for like a week or two, you try to come back to it and you find out, oh, that's gone. Because it hits you a different way because you never got to finish it. Where a hardcore player, they played it every day. They're
Yeah.
fine with it because they're getting their money's worth.
And somebody else is like, yeah, man, I went through this, I went through that, I did this, I did that.
Yeah.
And it's like, yo, I bought that, I only like got 25% through. Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh, that's a oof right there. that's a huge one.
Yeah.
So the other thing that's interesting is CD Projekt Red. And dang, I'm trying to remember the game.
The Hitman?
No, CD Projekt Red.
Are you talking about their store, or are you just
Cyberpunk.
talking about Cyberpunk?
Cyberpunk. There we go. That's funny. I was naming the genre, and it's actually the name of the game. I'm sorry, that sounded so messed up. So, anyways, there's a lot of things going on with Cyberpunk, and there's a reason to believe somewhere down the line that Cyberpunk could come to Game Pass.
I can see that.
Now, it's been a long time since we jumped back in. Would you jump back into Cyberpunk if it went to Game Pass?
I mean, I already own
got
it, and
yeah,
so it doesn't really matter. Like, what would
and it's
get
not
me to
even a
go back is
multiplayer, right?
well, they're supposed to eventually add that. Remember, like that was one of the things that they promised was that it was going to have multiplayer, and that's why I was hyped about it too in the beginning.
Yeah.
So, until they add the multiplayer and until they've really polished up the game, that's what would get me hyped for it. But like just for them adding it onto Game Pass,
Yeah, probably not.
it wouldn't really affect me because I already own the game. Because all these new updates are supposed to be free. Like the multiplayer when they add it was supposed to be free.
That is true.
The only thing that would supposed to be charged for would be like brand new DLC, and even then I know they promise a lot of DLC for free because of the faults of the game for how it launched.
But it hasn't launched yet.
Yeah, if it didn't launch badly like that, they probably would have charged for DLCs by now.
True that. But I don't think there is a DLC that came out. I could be wrong, but I don't think they released a DLC yet. They're still in what is called damage. Damage mode, I guess.
I mean, they have launched like a mini DLC from my understanding. But it wasn't that much content. It was very like negligible. Like you wouldn't have even realized it was a DLC. Yeah.
Wow. So, we're getting people pretty much talking about when will be the most likely, appropriate time for CD Projekt Red and Cyberpunk to release the game on Game Pass, and people are saying summertime of next year. Cyberpunk is in a very difficult position, mainly because I think they should have pushed a little bit more harder on just getting people what they wanted. I mean, they had to fix the game. The game was buggy, things of that nature, but at least continue to put out the DLCs, whatever, because if they release next year, they'll be contending with a lot of AAA games, Xbox and PlayStation, and it's going to be heavy. Like people are already pre-ordering, people are already anticipating how much they're going to spend, and Cyberpunk is not really in that spending realm. They're not really on top of the list of people. First choice, Avowed, is one of those things. That's slated to come out next year, and not to mention Final Fantasy Stranger of Paradise. I'm definitely gonna be jumping on that one, and Final Fantasy 16 if that one comes out next year. Man, I'm near 2 Final Fantasies. That's what I'm saying?
I mean, the smartest thing they could do if they want to launch on Game Pass, it's not even a time thing. It's multiplayer. Like if they can get that multiplayer out, put it on Game Pass, so then you have people playing it, whether they're playing it for multiplayer or single player. At least if you had that multiplayer thing, like let's say I already have it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But my friend, whoever it is, doesn't have it yet, and they're playing with it on Game Pass. It goes off Game Pass. Now they want to buy it, so they can continue to play with me. That's the only way you're really gonna get people on that.
And
in my opinion.
I think you should also reward the legacy players, people who
Oh,
stayed
for
with the
sure.
game. They didn't they didn't jump on a bandwagon and said the game sucks. I want my return. You know what I'm saying? I think
Yep.
it would be good if people who still got the game can like, hey, you get a vehicle and weapon, something like that. That's story based, so you can at least download the game and try it out, see what this free thing is, and hopefully they got you to stay in and continue to play. So
For sure.
yeah, man.
I didn't return mine. I mean, I was definitely disappointed with what happened with the game, but at least I would like to believe that they're gonna fix it up, and when they do, it's gonna be amazing.
Bro, that world is too awesome of a world
It is.
to let go
Yep.
of. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can understand, hey, the story is kind of when it comes down to certain actions or, people's responses or, the bugs that were in there or your car, flying when it should be driving. And, I could get it, but, if any game was supposed to contend with GTA, it would have been this one. To be honest, this would have been the it factor.
True.
So it's kind of messed up that happened. But something else happened this week, and it got me and Dio kind of excited. And I guess it's kind of weird that we're excited about it, but the Xbox being a refrigerator. The meme that became reality.
Yeah.
Yo, like it's going to be on pre-order next week.
Yep.
Surprisingly for $100.
Yeah.
I need to know how big this fridge is. Cause like it's gonna be interesting. I haven't checked out the specs as far as height versus width. But
Yeah.
It's $100 and it has a USB slots for powering your controllers or whatever. So like, bro.
So for size wise, this is the closest description I've gotten is that when you open the fridge, you get like that, of course, that green interior, the Xbox, and it can hold up to 10 like, regular size soda cans. Or like, 12 of those like really thin like what are those called? Like Red Bull kind of cans.
Yeah.
And it had like 2 shelves on the door, so you could like put like a few candy bars there or whatever it is that you want to put in there. So it's not huge, but it's a decent size. You could have on the side of you if you want to like just sneak a snack in or stay hydrated.
What would be
cool.
crazy is
What's
you can
that?
change the sound when you open the door.
All right.
That would be messed up. Midnight having that launch party and you open the door.
Or like the OG Xbox sound like the bubbling whatever it was. Remember that?
Man.
The old
Yeah.
Xbox sound?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Yo, man.
Yeah.
It's like, there he goes opening that fridge again. He needs to shut that off.
You're just opening it just to hear the sound.
Yeah. You leave it open just so you can keep playing the music.
Yeah.
That would be crazy. That would be crazy, man.
I'm probably gonna get one. I'm not gonna lie.
Dude, I was thinking of getting 2. One for the bedroom and one for the office. I don't know, man. That's $200, bro. But still, like, I don't know, bro. That's gonna
Pretty
be
cool.
Yeah. You know what's also cool though? Like,
What's up?
Xbox has made, I would say they made over 100,000. They have sold 100,000 on Xboxes in Japan.
Okay.
That is nice. I mean, we're getting closer to the Xbox 360. When it was selling out in Japan or in the Asian communities. This is huge because this was happening earlier in the year actually, because on Twitter there was a lot of bring localization, da 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 da. But I'm seeing people like come November of last year, like Series X. Oh, I got a Series X. And I started like tagging and retweeting. I was like, yo, that's one guy over on the in the Asian community got a S. Okay, that's cool. We just need like thousands and thousands. And it's weird. It's like, yo, they really starting to embrace the console, and not on just the console. They started embracing Game Pass.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And it's, again, I get it. The localization, the language, the how things are read needs to be done. You cannot tell me that Microsoft is not working hard enough. Microsoft is pulling all bells and whistles to make sure that across the world they are the best platform to play on. I'm nothing against any other platform, but Xbox is working hard. When Xbox One came out, it was just Xbox One. That was it. Xbox One and Kinect. There was nothing else. You don't know where Xbox was gonna go except for the games that that was coming on it, right? When the Xbox Series X and S came out, and this is before Game Pass, you already know I got a library and I got Game Pass. All right.
Yep.
And I got the world's powerful console. That was it. And then to see, Halo was put on delay. You know what I'm saying? CD Projekt Red came out in December, I think it was. I mean, it was a console nobody had an actual exclusive on day one, and people still bought it, and that was pretty cool. To see that level of loyalty and that level of belief and faith in a console. So to see so much units sold, not shipped, but sold in Japan. Look, Lost Odyssey 2, let's go. Blue Dragon 2, let's go. Tenchu, Ninja Gaiden, let's go. You know what I'm saying? Like, these games. Is Mistwalker still out there? Like, I think Mistwalker was a part of the Lost Odyssey development, right? Was it Mistwalker or?
Gosh, I believe so.
Oh my goodness, the little one came in. What's going on?
I think they worked on Blue Dragon also. No.
Okay. Hey, baby, I'm talking now. Bye bye. Love you. All right, so yeah, man. So Blue Dragon. I don't know who made Blue Dragon. I just played the heck out of that game.
I'm pretty sure it was Mistwalker also. I played a lot of Blue Dragon also.
Lost Odyssey, Mistwalker was the developer, and Field Plus. Mistwalker Corporation is an American-Japanese independent video game development studio. Are they still around? They gotta be still around. They were founded in 2004.
I think they are. I don't think they're gone. I just am not sure if they worked on anything really since.
It's interesting because they have like a 2004 to 2011.
Yeah.
That is weird. So they did do Blue Dragon and Lost Odyssey.
It looks like they've mostly been doing a lot of what's it called, mobile games.
Got you.
Since like their last game on the Wii, The Last Story.
Last Story, Ash, Terra Battle.
Yeah.
Wow, that's old. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. If they're still around, because I'm not seeing much of anything modern. Like,
yeah, well, all their modern stuff is all like mobile.
Yeah. So I hope we're able to pick up on some of those devs though, because they did put a lot of work on some of the Blue Dragon and Lost Odyssey. That was a heavy hitter for us, because that kind of competed with like Final Fantasy, to be honest. I mean, it really was good. So but yeah,
they even had like the Blue Dragon games on the Nintendo DS from what I remember, and those were pretty good too.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
They were fun.
So I know you got something going on, D. Something with FIFA?
Oh my god. Yeah, like this was definitely like a Don story, right? Like the fact that EA doesn't want to like, pay that money for the FIFA brands is like, what, we'll just rebrand it. We'll just do our own thing. It's like pretty ballsy, you know? Especially because I just find it funny because EA, they're trying to say that they're doing this because of the fans, because they're listening to their fan base. And I think that kind of takes a little bit of nerve because to use their fan base for the reason why they don't want to pay up for, getting that trademark again. I don't know. It just seems kind of weird. I mean, hey, the game's been around for a long time, so I'm pretty sure they could pull it off.
Mm-hmm.
But FIFA is a big name, so whoever gets that FIFA next is still going to be able to contend with EA's game, however they want to rebrand it. I think it's supposed to be like EA Sports, like football club or something like that. They're thinking about naming it.
Bro, but what is it? $1 billion just for their name? Like,
that's a lot. It is, but obviously they're making that money right back anyway. You know what I mean? So I think like the last time they talked about it, it was something like $6 billion that they made off of it. So they are making that back, in spades. So
wow.
We'll see. I mean, there's definitely going to be another company that picks it up. Like, that's just without a doubt. I would just be interested to see who's going to do it.
I don't know, man, because I can't even think about it. You're talking about $1 billion. How much was it for Bethesda? 7.1. Was it 7.6 million? Oh,
I really don't remember.
Bethesda.
But even if that's like $1 billion for EA, right? Like that's definitely not going to be the same price for every company.
I got
that's
you.
Negotiations between them and EA.
Gotcha.
I could see them going lower for another company because at that point, they got to do whatever that company can afford.
So it was $7.5 billion for Bethesda. Now, to put that into context, you're doing it for a game.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
not the studio, the game.
Yeah.
Like,
well, you're doing it for depending on. I didn't see how long that that deal would have lasted, right? Because usually these agreements are usually for like X amount of years, right? Not like for each game itself. So, was that 1 billion for like the next 4 games, for the next 10 games? I'm not really sure about that.
That was just to use the name, bro. Just the name.
No, I get that. Yeah, but you are allowed to use that name for X amount of years. So that depends on what was the deal. Could they use the name for the next 4 years, 10 years? So if they could use it for the next 10 years, 1 billion doesn't sound bad, especially if they're making 6 billion a year or more.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Wow.
But hey, I mean that's the same thing with Star Wars, right? Like EA has to pay for Star Wars name too when they're making these games. They almost actually they did lose it, right? Already.
I don't think they lose. I think the contract may have. I think they still have a contract, but they don't have exclusivity.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because they just made I think they launched the Star Wars something Jedi. Gosh, my mind. The single player joint that the Apex, Fallen Order with the Apex team. I think they made that one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So for Respawn to have done that, right, and belong to EA, they don't want to shift that unless something really didn't go well behind the scenes. So because wasn't it so that's Star Wars with EA. I think there was another Star Wars that's being developed. I know, well, KOTOR with with Sony, and then there was Indiana Jones. I know that's not Star Wars, but Indiana Jones with Microsoft, and I think something else with Star Wars and Microsoft was happening, right? Something. It was a hit, like something special was going on, but they didn't talk about it, or not. Probably
You're
not.
right. Yeah, I just don't remember. I know there's something with Nintendo also.
Really?
Yeah. So I mean, Star Wars is definitely branching out again, which I think is better anyway because EA really didn't do much with it
Mm.
when they had exclusivity.
Yeah, I gotta look and see what's going on here because that would be if they're doing KOTOR, right? The remaster or remake, whatever. I wonder what Xbox would do. Honestly, if anything, I would hope that they would redo the Star Wars single player game that you were like a Sith.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot the name of that.
I know
one.
I know you're talking about. Oh man, it's the one when you're like Darth Vader's like apprentice, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then you make choices.
Yep.
Light or dark side, but it's not your typical. It wasn't like how Knights of the Old Republic was, where that one is more really narrative choices and stuff. This one was more like a linear version of it. I think it was like probably like 30 to 40 hours of gameplay. But,
yeah, there was like 2 of them too.
Yeah, it was 2. It was really nice though. It was really nice. But it would be cool if they reworked that joint and really made it like the Xbox version. But hey, who am I? Yo, what else you got, D?
So we talked about EA. Before we were talking about like a little, we kind of touched on Avowed, but we didn't really touch deeper into it. I thought we were gonna get into it, but it seems like there's more like videos out there and context to how the combat's going to be in Avowed, which is pretty cool because it really sounding like it's going to be like really big competition towards something like Skyrim, and we already knew this like just looking at it, but it seems like the combat is being very, very fleshed out. So it's not just going to be magic in one hand and a weapon in one hand where some people thought it was going to be like that. You're actually going to be able to use like 2-handed weapons. You're going to be able to use magic in both hands and make them into more powerful spells.
Yeah, that's
you have like that bow combat. So it really feels like you're going to be able to play this game any way you want, just like you could in the Outer Worlds and you could do it in Skyrim. And that's really good to hear because I really, obviously, Microsoft owns Bethesda and they own Obsidian, but it's still good to see that kind of competition within the same company because then not only can they bounce ideas off of each other and work together, but it'll make both series better. Elder Scrolls will get better for this, and the Pillars of Eternity series will get better because of this.
Exactly. The so based on I got like notes on this joint. It's crazy. So,
okay.
So of course they've named the universe World of Eternity.
Yes.
And one of the things that they're basically using the same engine as Outer Worlds, but it's more enhanced. Like Outer Worlds came out, cool. Let's use that engine and make it even better. And then they started using that engine for Avowed. The best example I can say would be to look at the Outer Worlds 2 game trailer that was this past E3 and think of Avowed in that world.
Yep.
That's crazy because when you think Skyrim, you think a little bit of like washed out world, a little bit a little bit more realistic dated. I mean, not that it's dated, but it just feels if it has like this. I guess when you mean dated, you mean like by century, right? Like it's like a 16th century type of environment. When you think of movies or cinematics, you think of or like Braveheart or things of that nature. It's kind of like a washed out look of a environment, right? It's not like super green. It's more like try to bring in some form of history behind the look and feel of it because there isn't modern technology in Skyrim, right? So it's basically bricks and castles and dungeons and things like that. So when you look at an environment from that perspective versus this colorful, luminescent of a of a world like Outer Worlds. It's like, dang, okay. I would not have thought about that. I think they probably would have gone the Skyrim route or the Oblivion route, but they went the Outer Worlds. Like, bro, that's gonna be interesting, to be honest. That's borderline touching ESO. I mean,
Yeah.
because ESO is beautiful in its own way, but it still has some form of stylized color palette like Skyrim a little bit, or like, you know what I'm saying, like the ESO universe. But the Outer Worlds, that world is that was a little colorful. I'm definitely looking forward to see what
Very
that what it,
colorful.
yeah, I want to see what they do with that. But I'm sorry, go ahead. You was gonna say something about that?
No, I mean they just did it because they are really older games. I think obviously, I mean Skyrim came out what 2011, and it still holds up pretty well. But we're really gonna have to see with Elder Scrolls 6 how it looks in comparison, because that'll be something that's a better thing to compare with, because now they're like in the same kind of technology realm.
Right, next gen.
The one thing the one thing I think that this game is definitely gonna have over Elder Scrolls, in my opinion, Elder Scrolls has great lore,
Mm-hmm.
but I think Obsidian is just naturally better storytellers.
Mm.
So they're gonna have great lore, but they're also gonna have an amazing story at the same time,
Gotcha.
and that's what's really gonna set it apart. I think, especially for a lot of players who, they enjoy Skyrim for what it is because you could explore the open world and everything, and the same thing for Fallout. But there's a reason why Fallout New Vegas is so universally loved, because you had that Bethesda open world, but you had Obsidian storytelling in it, because that's who worked on Fallout New Vegas.
Gotcha.
So this is where we're really gonna see. I mean, we saw it with New World, Outer Worlds, but we're gonna see a lot more with Avowed. That's what I'm really, really looking forward to see where they take it. Because I tried to play Pillars of Eternity 2 and just skip part 1, and just that opening where you are creating your character and they tell you your choices based on the old game, I was like, damn, I really had to play part 1 because this sounds amazing. So like, I gotta play part 1 and part 2 before I play this game for sure, because just that opening intro in part 2 was just so good. The fact that they had so many choices that you can make from the first game, like, it almost felt like Dragon Age, how you continue the game.
Right.
So, oh man, is really cool. I'm really looking forward to Avowed.
Word. And then they started talking about certain things that's going to be in the game. So I know you mentioned two-handed weapons. So
Yep.
what was mentioned was dual daggers, two-handed bows,
Yep.
combination of sword and magic, which is awesome. Two-handed magic. And based on the leak was that when you do two-handed magic, that's gonna kind of help you, or well, not help you, it's gonna be where you have a level of proficiency in magic where you can do two dual hands. So I'm not sure if it's like, oh, I can, I want to put fire on both hands. I think you have to actually train to use both hands the way how it's coming across, which is pretty cool still. That would be kind of cool if like one hand is weaker than the other because you're predominantly right-handed than left-handed. So or vice versa. So now you have to practice killing with your right hand to be or left hand to be more proficient with it.
Yeah, and Skyrim did something similar where, like, let's say you use the same exact spell on your left and your right hand. If you charged them up at the same time, you would use like a more beefy, powered up way of that spell or that skill. So I think they're going kind of in that direction, but I think they're also going to take their own take on it, like how you're saying, which is really cool. Like I am really I don't really care about magic classes. I always typically play like the warrior or like a paladin kind of class, but it's still cool to see what other people are going to be able to do with it, because usually with magic in games like this, you could really like exploit a lot of things. I don't want to say exploit, like, like cheese the game, but you're gonna end up doing things that you just didn't know were real. It's oh man, I am so excited. Then we also have Dragon Age 4 coming out soon.
My bad.
And
I was talking. I muted the mic a quick second ago. For some reason.
okay.
So I just want to finish off this and then we get to Dragon Age. So I'm just reading a little bit of my notes here. So some of the spells is like the Jolting Touch. The Jolting Touch is when you have a team of people. You know, you have a archer, you have a wizard, you have like someone who's like talks with animals, if you will. So like a beast master, if you will. You
Hmm.
know, and then you have like a sword and shield guy and stuff like that. You basically can kind of determine who you work with in the game. But in this case, you have the Jolting Touch is basically a wizard move or a spell where lightning comes in and decimates an enemy um, from the sky. You have the Fireball, which also decimates enemies using a storm of magma and fire, which is pretty cool. And I think what Dio probably would be interested in is called the Fetid Karis, which is you basically imbue an enemy with poison.
Oh, okay.
Is corrosive poison. So I'm not sure if, being that it's next gen, I would like to see corrosive poison actually corrode
Oh
body
my god.
parts. That would
Yeah.
be so. It's like you swing at somebody's arm and then it does damage, but you didn't cut it off, but you see like their body start eating away. You know, like
Oh
the
my
arm.
god.
That would be kind of cool
Yeah.
though. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
it would be.
Yeah, that would be kind of nonsense right there. Um, so let's see. I think we kind of covered all of that. Deep RPG exploration and narrative systems.
Oh yeah.
They're gonna be using enhanced version of the engine. We talked about that. Um, Multiple class playstyles, which is interesting. Now, what we don't know, because it's a first person, so if it's first person, we understand that it's going to be a single player experience that you'll probably have a team of people, like AIs around you. Because in
Yeah.
Pillars of Eternity, you have up to 4 or 5 guys. I mean, women or female doesn't really matter. I mean, men and women doesn't really matter,
Yeah.
but you choose who you want, of course. But you had like 5 people in your party. So
Mhm.
in Avowed, I'm wondering if it's just going to be you, or will you actually have the same type of party system there as well? So
I
that'd be
would
kind of cool.
imagine that you would get at least one party member or two. I think like anything more than that, like especially in a first like person view, will get too cluttered, right? Especially if you're like melee, you know. But they're definitely gonna have at least one companion. I mean, they did it in Outer Worlds, so I would imagine something similar to that, right? Like where you're building a relationship with them.
Yeah, I think they had 2 companions in the Outer Worlds, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Definitely pretty cool. But yeah, so you was mentioning something about what is it called? Dragon Age?
Yeah, so this is still like up in the air, but supposedly it looks like it will be next gen exclusive. So only for the PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and obviously PC. So anyone who's still on the PS4 or Xbox One might be missing out on Dragon Age 4.
No, if they do, if Dragon Age goes to Game Pass, I mean it could go browser based for the
Oh, that's
one.
true. It could end up on Game Pass because of EA Play, right?
Yeah, that's a possibility. Because I think, what was the game that's coming out? Battlefield is gonna be on Game Pass, I believe. And since you're on Game Pass, you get to be a part of the beta or something else that's coming up. And
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? I mean, I think regardless of how people feel about EA, I think the Game Pass and the EA collaboration was like the best thing that happened, to be honest. Need for Speed, Battlefield, FIFA, and whatever else they got. I mean,
Hmm.
shoot, that's awesome. So, but what else you got on Dragon Age? Maybe.
I mean, that's really it because there wasn't really much information to go off of with that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, personally, I kind of feel I understand what they're doing, but I kind of feel like it's. I hope that this is not true only because there's still so many people who don't have a PS5 or Xbox Series X or S, and that's just limiting the market so much, especially from a dev team that has lost a lot of faith with the community, right? Like
But who, Bioware?
people are, yeah,
Hmm.
like there's still a lot of people really pissed off about
Anthem.
Mass Effect Andromeda, Anthem.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a little bit of buyback with this trilogy from Mass Effect, but I mean,
Mhm.
even then, I don't think it was so well received that people are willing to comfortably say, "Oh, a new game," because that's at the end of the day, that's them revisiting an old game. So you not have to worry about the story changing very much because it wasn't a remake; it was just a remaster.
Right, right.
So this is kind of on shaky grounds, especially depending on how they go about it. Because I think last thing I heard was at first it was supposed to be like, you know, possibly like not MMORPG, but still have like a huge multiplayer aspect to it.
Hmm.
And then I heard it was supposed to be just single player. So I'm almost worried about it having the same problem as Anthem, where the team doesn't know what they want to do until like the very end, and they don't really start working on the game until like the last 2 years, even though it's supposed to be in development for like 6 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I,
That's my only worry.
yeah, I'm not really involved in the Dragon Age story that much. I mean, I did
Yeah.
play Dragon Age 2, right? And I think
Yep.
in Dragon Age 2, it did ask me, to what is it? Connect your save file of Dragon Age 1 or something
Mhm.
of that nature at the time.
Yep.
But I beat the game and that was it. It was more instant space, like there were levels,
Yes.
like stages that you go to, and you had to kill this or do that, whatever. So it was okay. But it didn't really connect with me on that level. I tried
Yep.
Dragon Age 3,
Yep.
and yeah, I haven't jumped back on that yet. So I don't know, man. I don't know how to look at Dragon Age, the new Dragon Age game. I'm probably gonna wait and see what they do with it, see if it catch my fancy, because it so far, I mean, the only the only game that really comes out at me will be like Divinity. I'm not sure if you heard of that game. It's
Oh,
kind of,
Divinity. Yep.
yeah, that one was pretty cool to me. But I
But that
think
wasn't BioWare, right?
it wasn't. I don't think it was Bioware
Okay.
at all. But I was
Yeah.
360 time frame, way back in the 360 time frame. So,
Yeah.
and I think I got them both kind of confused. And when I played Dragon Age, like, oh, this is different. Okay, cool. I'll give it a shot. But
Yeah. I mean, when Dragon Age 4, if it does come out on Game Pass, of course, I'm pretty sure me and you will try it out. But
yeah,
unless it does that, I'm not really in a rush because like I loved part 1. I adored it so much. Part 2, it was so different from part 1 that I didn't really care for it. And then part 3 was a bit better, but in the end of the day, I didn't like the direction how the storytelling was being done. And I at this point, like none of the original team from BioWare is there. So anything that they do now is just not the same exact thing. It's just the same name. So I'm definitely more apprehensive about it.
I got you, man. Um, so, man, that's a lot. We covered a lot. You got any more? Because the only thing that I can get right now is I'm just looking at the news that's going on right now to see what's going on, and apparently the best console on the Xbox side is a Series S, outselling, like just selling out more than the Series X. I'm surprised that's still a thing, because I was
I'm not
thinking
really
like,
surprised because it's a good entry price, right? Especially for casual gamers like who don't care about having something super beefy. They just want to be able to play, they're free to play games like Fortnite or Smite or something on a console and just chill, right? Or even like Minecraft. They don't really care about having like the best graphics. I mean, even for PCs, like there's people who are like that. They don't care about having top of the line PC or top of the line graphics card. They just want to be able to play their favorite games, And I would say when you look at the top games, it's like Minecraft and Fortnite. So if you don't need a super strong console or a PC for that, you know what I mean? And it's a great price for what you're getting with that the Series S. I mean, Series X is a great price too,
Yeah.
hardware wise. But I mean, if you could play all the same stuff and it's still next gen, well, like why wouldn't you pick that up if you don't care about being hardcore into it, right?
exactly.
But I mean, we could talk about that misstep from Nintendo.
Yo, yeah. What's up with that? When was it a family plan that they tried to introduce?
Yeah, so man, this is so disappointing because we kind of talked about it a little bit when they first announced it, and it almost kind of feels like they're trying to like kind of slide this in, right? Because when they talked about it at first, they talked about bringing the Nintendo 64 games and the Genesis games and stuff. And I remember being happy about it, but I said like, if they increase it by too much, I know I wouldn't be very happy about it because there's still problems with their online connection. They don't have like real comms that are set up or even messaging. I'm fine with them having their friend system the way it is, where you have to have the friend code and they make it difficult because they know a lot of their player base is children.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine by me. But if you're an established friend with somebody, I should be able to like put on a headset, play on my Switch, and like talk to my daughter while I'm playing.
Right.
My daughter should be able to do the same things between each other. So they more than double the price of these plans because there is the single, person plan.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone's talking more about the family plan because that, I mean, they both jumped up very high.
Yeah.
But most people are on the family plan because, it's Nintendo.
And it's gonna switch on them pretty quick. I'm assuming, like, they gotta pay that extra $80.
Well, you still have the old plan, so you can keep doing that. So the original plan is $34.99, which is not really high, and you have up to 8 players on that plan, which is great, But the new plan is, like you said, $79.99, $80, and that's more than double. And you're not getting better connections. You're not getting better comms. All you're getting is a handful of Nintendo 64 games, a handful of Genesis games, and some extra Animal Crossing stuff, which not everybody plays Animal Crossing. And to tell you the truth, as cool as it is to play Nintendo 64 games and Nintendo and Sega Genesis games, we've already seen how they release the games for the Super Nintendo and Nintendo on the original plan. They do it so slowly that I could imagine only seeing a Nintendo 64 game being released maybe once every 2 months or so, which it's even in that, it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel good. I think a better price point I think they would have been able to get away with would have been 50. I still wouldn't have been very happy about it, but I think more people would have been easier on it. I mean, it's definitely not well received too because of the fact that you look at the overview trailer for this on YouTube on their main channel and Nintendo's channel, and it has 13 likes and it has 28k dislikes. I mean, 13k likes and 28k dislikes. So there's a lot of people who are not happy about this. That's more than double the likes. So
oh wow.
Most people are not very happy about it because it really feels kind of scummy. It feels like they tried to sneak this because they had to know the price points when they first announced it. And it almost feels like they announced it this way because they knew less people would be paying attention compared to like when they're watching the main, show.
So what? People would accidentally pay for a family plan?
Well, you're not going to accidentally pay for it, but I would imagine if this was shown during Nintendo Direct, that Nintendo Direct would have been received a lot, less favorably like it was. Because the last Nintendo Direct, I mean, you remember how ecstatic I was for it. I was like so hyped and happy for it.
Yeah.
If this was announced during that same thing, it would have ended up either you would have been neutral about the Direct or you would have still really hated it just because of this price point. Because this price point is ridiculous.
Wow.
Honestly.
Wow.
And it's really sad to see that because I think Nintendo has been doing a lot of good things with the Switch, with little things that they still need to fix up, and this just makes it that much worse for them, especially when they have real competition coming their way very soon with that Steam Deck.
I'm telling you, Steam Deck plus Game Pass, but we can't ignore the PlayStation Now app because that's also something that you can download. You would be able to download on a Steam Deck. So if you're playing for PlayStation Now and you get that on your Windows 10 or your Windows 11 on the Steam Deck, you be playing PS5 games on the Steam Deck like a PSP. You know what I mean?
Can you play PS Now on your mobile phone like you can with Game Pass?
No.
No, right? Okay.
No, I don't think so. I think it's mostly PC relative. I could be wrong.
I figured.
But the only thing they got is a PC app. to download and stream games. So that'll be interesting to see that happen. To see what, because you already know, it's this. Gosh, it's gonna be a comparison.
Oh, for sure.
PS Now versus Game Pass on Steam Deck, which is the best, and then they're gonna do like a Digital Foundry, frame rate check, and oh gosh. It's gonna be
true.
So, but yeah, man. So family and friends on the pod. This has been the Digital Cypha Podcast with the Don C. Not Don C. Don C is not here. The Dio Sales. Yeah, we already know what he's doing. He probably already making out. Oh man. But anyways, it's Dio Zales and Ebonics over here, on the Digital Cypha Podcast. Every Saturday from 10 to 11, just speaking some gaming news, things you may have heard or may not have heard, or just chatting with us in the chat room here. But again, we're signing out. You guys enjoy gaming and have a good weekend.
Thanks, guys.